What's going on? What's going on? It's Lady Dre, and welcome to Healing Session. I hope that you're having an amazing, abundant, prosperous, loving, fulfilling, masterful, purposeful, harmonious day. I hope that this message finds you well. Okay, so check this out. Today's video is going to be about self-love habits that have changed my life, and that can change your life as well, and that don't cost a thing. Okay, so let's start first with one. You have to trust yourself. Okay, you have to trust yourself. It is imperative that you trust yourself. Okay, and trusting yourself could look like when you have an inkling about something, right? When your intuition is trying to tell you something, you have to be able to be in a space to trust yourself, to know that you're not going to steer yourself wrong, right? You are going to do what's required for you to be able to move how you need to move. You are going to have discernment, right? You are going to be able to be in a space where you know, like, without a shadow of a doubt, I trust me. More than anything else, more than anybody else, I trust me. Also, too, in that, though, you will be in a space where you can be able to receive information from others, but also knowing, too, when it's projection or when, you know, there are some areas where you can be able to, you know, better yourself, right? So trust yourself first and foremost. Trust yourself. It is imperative that you trust yourself, okay? Okay, number two. Number two is making better decisions for yourself, okay? Now, this is a self-love habit that it will take some trial and error because, again, you know, if you are dealing with the unhealed version of yourself, you will make some decisions that are just, they're not good for you, okay? You know, whether it be out of ego, whether it be out of desperation, whether it be out of whatever, sometimes you can make bad decisions for yourself, right? But the great thing about self-love is, and like I said, it will be trial and error, but you have to make better decisions for yourself. You have to know what your goal is, what you're looking for, what you want, right, out of life. And then you base those choices out of that, right? So if you know that you no longer want to be in toxic relationships, then you have to make an effort to remove yourself from toxic relationships, right? You have to make an effort to remove yourself from or around people that will bring that toxicity out of you, okay? Also, too, it matter making better choices for yourself. It can look like, you know, if you have a habit that's bad, right? Stop the habit, okay? Like, make an effort to stop the habit. Not saying that it will just stop overnight, but at least making the choice to say, you know what, I'm going to stop that, right? So, yeah, make better choices for yourself, okay? Okay, so number three, you have to forgive yourself, okay? It's important that you learn to forgive yourself. If you can be in a space to forgive others, you have to be in a space to be able to forgive yourself, right? Because there are going to be times where you're going to have to forgive yourself. There are going to be times where you messed up. And again, going back to those making better choices for yourself, sometimes, like I said, you will make bad choices or make bad decisions for yourself, right? But you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself and knowing that, okay, even in those bad decisions, what did I learn from it? What did I gain from it, right? How can I move different, right? So it's important that, you know, in making better choices for yourself, you have to be able to forgive yourself when, you know, you make those decisions that may not be so great for yourself, right? And I know it's easier said than done. Like, trust me, I get it. I get it. You know, there have been times where I had to forgive myself for just how I moved. There had to be times where I had to forgive myself for, you know, my reactions, right? There had to be times where I forgive myself for, you know, not loving on myself, right? Not having self-love, right? Not having self-acceptance. So those were areas where I had to forgive myself and say, hey, okay, listen, we're going to make better choices, right? We're going to forgive ourselves for the things that we've done wrong, right? And instead of counting it as a loss, count it as a lesson, right? And move forward and move with the wisdom and the knowledge that you have acquired from making that bad or poor choice, okay? Okay, so number four is you have to provide yourself with grace. Like, you have to give yourself grace. You have to, because in those moments where you are making, you know, better decisions for yourself, and you may not get it right. You have to give yourself grace and understand that, listen, there's going to be times where you have to unlearn so much of what you've been taught, you know what I'm saying, what you have been shown. And the reality is that, yeah, there's sometimes that you're going to have to learn lessons over and over again. It's not going to be just one time that you learn the lesson. It's not going to be just one time that you take the test. You know what I mean? Like, you have to give yourself grace. Even like for myself, there are still times where I have to learn a lesson or even be tested on the lesson. Even as recently, I had to be tested on a lesson to be like, okay, are you going to choose yourself, or are you going to choose, this past situation, knowing that they don't mean well by you, right? And so you have to give yourself grace in knowing that there are some times where you're going to have to repeat the lesson. There's going to be some times where you're going to repeat the test. However, remember that, you're learning and you're growing and you're evolving, and it's not going to happen overnight, but you have to keep on moving forward. You have to keep on making sure that you trust yourself to know that you know what you want, right? You know the path that you're on. You know what's required of you. And so give yourself grace, while forgiving yourself. Because again, like I said, there's going to be times where you're going to have to repeat things. And nobody likes to repeat things, but the reality is if we want to learn it and master it, you're going to probably have to repeat it, right? So instead of looking at it in a negative, look at it in a positive, because ultimately it's going to help you to move forward and making those better decisions, forgiving yourself, and also while giving yourself some grace. Okay, so number five is you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I know there are times, along this healing journey, we want to live in Delulu land. It feels good in Delulu land, right? We find comfort in Delulu land, right? But the reality is that you have to stop lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you know a person not right for you, acknowledge that, okay? If you know a person doesn't mean you any good, acknowledge that. If you know a situation is ultimately going to lead you to a place where you're feeling not great about yourself, release that, okay? So listen, you have to stop lying to yourself. And listen, there's going to be times where you may lie to yourself and be like, no, I'm trusting myself and knowing that this is what it is. But really, ultimately, you have an inkling. Your intuition is telling you when to leave that person alone, right? That intuition is telling you I don't know, this doesn't feel right, right? Okay. Trust that. You know what I'm saying? And acknowledge that when you know that you are lying to yourself. Acknowledge when you know that you are not being all the way truthful with yourself or how you're feeling, right? And that's okay. You're entitled to feel how you feel, right? Your feelings are really going to be able to help you and gear you into understanding, okay, what needs to be healed? What triggers are still showing up for me as insecurities or fears or lack, right? So it's okay, but you can no longer lie to yourself and think that you're going to be able to heal those areas and move forward if you really don't recognize that there are problem areas, right? There are areas of concern. So don't lie to yourself. Just be honest with yourself. And the reality of it all is that when you are honest with yourself, it creates a space for you to be able to attract people that are honest with themselves, right? And then in turn, honest with you, right? Because ultimately, nobody wants to be lied to, right? But it starts with you. It starts with you not lying to yourself and saying, hey, I'm okay, when you're really not, right? Lying to yourself when saying that, I made the right decision knowing that you really didn't, right? And even vice versa, when you're lying to yourself and making it seem that you're not amazing, right? Or when you're not worthy, or when you're not intelligent. Don't lie to yourself. Don't make yourself, don't believe in the false narratives of what naysayers say or what people project on you. Don't lie to yourself, right? You are your best friend, okay? Okay. Number six is you have to have positive thoughts about yourself. And this goes back again to lying to yourself, right? If you don't have positive thoughts about yourself, it's going to be difficult for you to move forward in any situation, right? Because ultimately, when you are unlearning, the things that you have have witnessed, when you are unlearning the things that people have taught you, the things that have been passed down to you, it's going to be easy for you to fall into those moments of doubt, right? Those moments of unclarity, those moments of not feeling like you're worthy. And so you have to have positive thoughts in order for you to be able to just understand like who you are, right? And there are going to be times where that doubt tries to creep in. There's going to be times where, you know, the things that people have told you over the years try to make you feel like you're, again, less than, that you're not worthy, that, you know, that you're not loved or protected. Like, no. It starts with you. It starts with your mind. It starts with you having positive thoughts about yourself, having positive thoughts about how you want to see your life, right? Because again, it starts with you. It starts with you telling yourself, like, you know what? I am great. You know, I am amazing. I am creative. I am talented, right? But then also going into doing those things, also being creative, right? Going and doing your talents, showing your gifts, right? Showing up for yourself, using your voice. So it's important that you utilize just the positivity in wanting to be a better person, wanting to be a better self, wanting to show up as your best self, right? Because ultimately, listen, if people are going to say whatever they're going to say about you, that's fine, but it matters what you say about you, how you feel about you. That's where it first starts. And that's how you build that confidence. That's how you build that self-love. That's how you build those positive habits in creating your self-love on your self-love journey. Number seven is listen, it's integral. It's an integral part in the self-love habits that can change your life and that don't cost anything, right? Number 7, you have to learn about yourself. You have to learn about what you like, what you dislike. You have to learn about your triggers, right? Your insecurities, your fears, right? And use it for your good, right? Because again, sometimes what people will do is when they see that you have an insecurity or fear, they will use it against you, right? So you have to know, the things about yourself that no one knows, right? It's important for you to be able to know you before you know them. Okay, know yourself, love yourself, accept yourself, right? Because ultimately, if you don't know about yourself, you will fall for anything. You will allow anybody to say anything that they want to about you, and then you believe it. Again, going back to those positive thoughts of yourself. If you don't hear it from somebody, then you may think that, okay, well, it's not true, right? If you don't have that self-validation outside of yourself where somebody's saying, oh, you're beautiful, or oh, you're smart, then you may not believe that, right? So it's important for you to know that, yes, I am beautiful, right? Yes, I am creative. I am talented. Like, I'm amazing at that. And knowing that, right? Knowing your strengths, right? Also knowing your weaknesses. Also knowing those points where you can be able to again, work on yourself, right? Again, going back to trusting yourself, trusting that you know that you're on this journey. You're on this journey of self-love and self-acceptance, right? And self-confidence. But again, it goes back to you knowing that you are the most important part on this journey. Like you, yes, you. Okay. Now, last but not least, number 8. This is huge, okay? This is huge. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be. Because all those things are encompassed in trusting yourself, right? Forgiving yourself, right? Knowing yourself, loving yourself. All those are integral parts of having great habits when it comes to self-love. You have to be your best cheerleader. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be able to, root for yourself even when nobody else does. Okay? You have to be able to say, you know what? I am amazing. I am wonderful. I am positive. Like, you have to be able to know this. Also, too, again, knowing when you need grace. Knowing when you need that pick me up, knowing when you need someone to say, hey, like, good job. Like, you have to be there for yourself, even if nobody else does it. And now if you have people that do that for you, then that's even better. But you have to be able to do that for yourself. You have to be able to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be able to say, you know what? Like, I got this. I got this. Listen, I got this, right? And that's how you be able to create that confidence. That's how you are able to continue on that self-love journey of really just making sure that you change your life for the better. And any of those 8 things don't cost you absolutely nothing, okay? Nothing. It doesn't cost absolutely anything. I'm not saying that you can't go pamper yourself, right? Go get your nails done, go get your hair done, buy you some nice clothes. I'm not saying that. But these things are things that that won't cost you absolutely anything. And it starts with you. It starts with you loving yourself, trusting yourself, making sure that you talk to yourself nice, right? Remember who you are. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some time to be able to learn on this journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It will not happen overnight, right? Healing is a constant thing, right? And self-love is something that you have to practice daily, but it can change your life for the better. All right. So I hope these tools helped you. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. And all that good stuff. You already know. All right? Y'all be easy.